the shirt, so it's just a clip shot.
All right, so we are now moments away from the very first tribal council of this game. Whoever is voted out here will be the first person voted out of Can You Survive charity event 2022. And it will be the Gray Arundel tribe who will be filing into tribal council soon. We have a very incredible tribal council set up this year, and we are excited about it.
Is everyone good to...
We're live. We're good to go. Yep.
Everyone start...
Let me know when you want to record.
Okay,
One of you do the close-up. Just, yeah, you can get around the front.
All
I got
right.
a close-up cam for these guys right here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, we're just finishing some last-minute logistics because we are filming episodes this year. Oh my god. My hair almost just hit a torch. That was almost very dramatic. And here comes the Gray Tribe filing into Tribal Council for the first time this season. We are going to follow them in. Oh my god, so scary. Oh, did we not? We didn't tell them to like. Right?
I'll go over it.
Thank you.
All right, Arundel, welcome to your first tribal council. It's not a happy place to be. Try to speak loudly here. We are live streaming this, so I'm going to ask you some questions, and hopefully you give me truthful answers. And
Truthful and loud answers.
Truthful and loud, and hopefully the people at home can, get some insight into what's happening during this vote. Here at Tribal Council, you see the torches behind you. Obviously, in this game, fire represents your life. So those represent your life. When it gets snuffed, you are out of this game. So we'll start with you, Tabitha. So this game started off pretty interesting. Normally you're working together as a tribe, but we kind of flipped it on its head here, and you're working against your tribe. Not only you have an enemy here, but you have a whole tribe that you're trying to fight for individual immunity. How does that change how you approach the first couple days of this game?
Honestly, I'm just doing whatever I can to survive myself. Really no strategy to take out anybody in particular. I just want to make as far as I personally can.
Yeah. Bennett, do you feel like the black spot is playing any role into how certain people are approaching this vote? Did that come up at all?
I think it's come up in conversation, but I don't know that people are letting it weigh on their game too hard right now. I think the thing that people are conscious of is the fact that we do have probably a long pre-merge, and so the idea of, sending home your black spot now, yeah, you have immunity come the merge, but you then have a big target on your back for the entire pre-merge. So the way that I look at it personally, and I've said this to Tab, is that I don't intend on taking that into account right now. And I think from the conversations we've had, most people feel similarly.
Well, Jared, that brings up an interesting point, and I think, I'm not sure which tribe I said it to, but Brandon kept referring to your black spot as an enemy. But Bennett, you kind of alluded to why they might be a friend, or what I said, a frenemy, because the longer they're in the game, the less of a target on you as you head towards the merge. So do you see people trying to protect their duo here, Jared?
We kind of talked about it in the tribe a little bit. We kind of said we were just going to mostly try to ignore the twists as much as possible. We just felt like it was put in there to cause a rift within the tribe. And obviously we have had a lot to deal with individual news. We still haven't competed as a tribe against the other tribes yet. We're waiting to do that. So, no, we kind of agreed to really put that twist to the side. I'm sure as the merge gets closer and closer, then that's when the tribe will start, actually worrying about the challenge, about the twist. But as of right now, I think we're all pretty content with where we are, and we're not worried about that twist.
Yeah. So Sarah, speaking of kind of the other twist in the game, that was the black spot twist, but the other twist of the game, that this is for individual immunity here, and you're voting out each other. So in terms of challenge strength, how do you approach that? Because I feel like you could go one of two ways. Do you think we're going to stay in this individual spot? You might try to take out someone who's been doing really good at the challenges, and we have our scoreboard over there so we can see some names like Kyle or Bennett or Grace. Or if you're worried about tribe strength, maybe you think you're going to start playing against the other tribes soon, you might look at the bottom of that list. You have
I think some of these challenges, like there's very athletic people on our tribe who didn't necessarily do bounce bowl challenges, and some people who weren't very athletic who did very well. So it doesn't necessarily matter in that way. It all comes down to what the challenge is. I don't necessarily think that, I haven't necessarily thought about voting in that way. I've thought about just more about the vote as more of a, kind of like going off what Tab says, like keeping, how I can get further in the game, like all of us want to.
Kendall, the other unique thing about this game is you all have, a skin in the game, for lack of a better term, with your charities. So these are things that are important to you, and obviously you got the huge reward earlier of not only raising the most within your tribe, but you raise the most within the game, and so you're immune not only for this tribal, but the next one that you attend. What does that mean to you? And I guess speak to how the charities have made you kind of, have you talked about them with the rest of the tribe and things like that? Has it changed how you approach voting people out?
Yeah, so we definitely talked about all of our charities with each other and shared, and honestly everyone here is going for a great cause, so it's really hard to vote people out. It's such a close tribe when everyone is here trying to raise money for all different organizations doing great things. But it feels good definitely being safe for the next two tribal councils. Definitely a great feeling, glad I raised a lot of money. I worked hard at it. I actually sold grilled cheeses at school. Yeah, and they know all about that. So throughout my semester at school, I would sell grilled cheeses as part of the fundraiser. So seeing all my hard work like pay off is really cool. However, I hope it just doesn't put some sort of target on my back.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, that shows a lot of kind of energy and gusto and things like that. Do you worry that kind of makes people look at you a different way as you head later in the game?
I hope not. I think my tribe knows that I worked hard to raise that money, and it's just an organization that I'm really passionate about. However, the other tribes all saw today that I also raised the most money, so I don't know what their thoughts are on me, but I hope that it's not putting me in a bad position.
Kyle, you also were, anointed in front of the other tribes, so that could put a target on your back, but did you think you already had a target? Were you worried coming into this vote, or you felt like you had a plan coming into today no matter what?
I think all of us are worried. It's been a very long series, everyone's surprised after two release. I think all of us, we haven't had too many beat each other yet, so there hasn't been a vote to paper, and when that's the case, you really don't know, what's going to happen. So having their own matches makes you feel a little bit more secure, and able to be a little bit more, vocal with the conversations that are happening this afternoon.
So Grace, I mean, it's never too early in Modern Survivor to start talking advantages or idols. Are you preparing for that with today's with this vote? Are you preparing for something like that to be played?
It's definitely something that's crossed my mind. I know we've all talked about it and kind of tried to figure out if anybody's had one or anything like that. We seem to all not, as far as I really know, but that could just be how other people are trying to see.
Okay. Well, you guys seem to have made your minds up before you came in here, so I mean, I'll throw it to you. Does anyone want to say, oh, sorry, I didn't get to you, Ryan. Ryan, I did want to ask you about camp life last night. So kind of who was standing out in terms of, being a great camp presence? Or is that something that you factor into the game of, hey, you want to keep someone along that you really liked?
As the first person who went to bed last night, maybe I'm not. But, what I really liked is from the get-go, Sarah had a great idea about coming together and having a discussion about, what do you think your strengths are, what are your weaknesses, and I think that really set the stage for us. Every single person here sat there for an hour and a half and built fire. We all tried on the flint, we all put everything together, and because of that, we got it before night even fell here. We have shown that, the 8 of us together in a camp life, we've established how well we can actually work together. So I think that is also adding a difficulty to this vote too. There's nothing that stands out negatively against anybody when it comes to camp.
Okay. Does anyone have any last things to say?
I do.
Yeah, go for it.
So I have found the safety without power. Was I with that? It was actually in the fruit bag. So how it works is this advantage is only good at the first tribal council you attend. It gives you the power to